Right, welcome back to another video. I'm in Qinghai. It's very cold here, but I'm at Gaer Valley, and this is the site of this ancient Buddhist temple behind me. It looks absolutely spectacular in all its gold roofs and decoration. And we're at about 4,000 meters above sea level, so it's really challenging. You know, I just walk up a few stairs and you're really out of breath. But the views are absolutely spectacular. Just look at this over here. It's absolutely amazing. The Gaer Grand Canyon is located in Nangqian County, Yushu, Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. The canyon boasts stunning scenery featuring plateau pastures, primitive forests and plateau lakes. Within the canyon there stands the Gaer Monastery, a Tibetan Buddhist temple nestled on a cliff at an altitude of about 3,700 meters, with a history of almost 1,000 years. Believe how all this is built up here. How did they get all the stuff up here? It's quite amazing really, because it's like on the side of a mountain. It just blows my mind how they do it. So we're at Yushu in Nangqian County, and behind me you can see this is a salt farm, and these polythene kind of ponds, what they do, they pump this salt water from deep underground and they put it in these salt ponds, and then they let it rest in these salt ponds, and the sun shines on it and evaporates the water. And every day as the water evaporates, they add more water till they get to the point where after all the water's evaporated, they're left with the salt. And then they collect that salt, and that salt is called red salt. And this area is very, very famous for this red salt. This is one of a number of salt farms in the area. And then that salt is then used, they sell it because it has medicinal purposes. They think it's good to soak your feet in. But also they feed it to the yaks, and yaks is a major source of income in this area. It's for food. They sell the yaks to bring income in. They use them to produce milk, which then they produce yogurts and cheeses from, and they're able to sell them. It's the first time I've seen a salt farm in all my life, and this is what it is when it's all packaged and ready to sell. Kind of great that they can make an income from the natural resources within the ground. I never knew this kind of thing existed, so it's very interesting to see. I hope they can market it so it's a well-known product throughout the world, and it will provide a lot of income for them. I think it's good. There's a pair of black-necked cranes over there in the distance. So this is Bolong wetlands area, and it was the very first protected wetlands area in China. It's the fourth largest in Qinghai province. It was established in around 1984, and at that time they only had 22 of the endangered species of the black-necked crane. Currently they have around 130, 140, but it's a very important place. It's about 100 square kilometers, but it's home to more than 140 species of different birds, and it's an important migration station. When birds are migrating from one area of the world to another, many will stop here for a day or a few weeks to get food and rest, and then they will be on the way. It's just a beautiful, beautiful wetlands. You know, it's kind of like an oil painting, really. It's beautiful. So I'd like to interview here Nobu. Nobu is a Tibetan. Hey, you were telling me earlier that you see all life as equal on the planet, right? And that's why you have areas like this where you really protect and care for animals. And that's really in Tibetan culture, right?
Yeah, that's really in Tibetan culture, because we believe next life term. So maybe my next life I will be the animal. So
you might be the crane or the bird.
Yeah. So today the crane maybe is my parents. Like, we have to protect them.
I'm learning a lot about the Tibetan culture, and it's great to be able to speak to somebody from the Tibetan culture to learn these things. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for.
We've arrived at a nomad village right in the middle of the mountains after about 1.5 hours drive. This is as remote living as it gets, isn't it? This is like so in the middle of the mountains. You know, there's no Waimai deliveries here or Starbucks around the corner to get a coffee from. This is really like nomad living. Whoa, this place is pretty cool. Look at this. It's like a themed area. There's like a coffee shop place here. Wow. Look at this. Man. There's people doing some sort of crafting over here. Whoa. Wow, that's very cool. This is very different. Wow. This is a traditional. Is it a heater or a cooker? Oh, look, you put the stuff in here, look. I bet this is made from dung.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
This is dung that they're burning. And you put it in here, look. See? You can see it all burning in here. This is kind of like what you would have in the West, we call an auger. And it's a traditional kind of oven which has hot plates and you feed it with wood, a wood-fired auger. But very, very few people have those anymore, but we would have had them in farmhouses. So lamb is one of my favourite foods. And this lamb is really good. It's got a mix of, it's a tiny bit spicy, but not much. That's really delicious. It's very tender. That is very, very good. And then we got this one coming around here. Now this reminds me of Xinjiang. So let me get one of these.
This is local.
Oh yeah, that is very, very good. That's a beef kind of dumpling. It's a little bit like cow bowser, but the outside is different, but the taste is similar. That's very, very good. We've got our bag and we're going to collect. Guess what we're going to collect? You have to watch the video in a minute and you'll see. So here we go, look. We've got a pile here and one by one into there it goes, look. But in for a penny, in for a pound. There you go, look. Oh, there's a big one here, look. Oh, that's huge. You don't eat it, right? You do?
So, you see.
Really?
That's a...
Oh my God. That's too far for me.
Same, actually same. That's the same.
Really? Oh, that's one step too far for me. I'm sorry. It's like
You wanna?
no, I can't. I can't
Really,
do that.
that's same as
I believe you, but I can't do that. That's too much.
That's a challenge, bro.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
one
try
step.
it, try it.
I can't.
You
No,
live
is it the
here,
first time you've picked up dung with your bare hands?
No.
Oh.
In Sweden we do that sometimes and throw at each other.
And having young children, you're used to this
I'm used to
handling messy situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's good that they're actually using this for something.
Yeah.
Like we saw earlier, they were cooking, and they're actually
Yeah.
putting the dung as the
Yeah.
fuel in the
It's a
stove.
much better
very-
way than to dig it for coal.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's very
usually-
ecological,
yeah.
isn't it?
In this area, otherwise people often use coal, but Tibetans use yak.
Yeah, that's
so
really
that's
good.
Great, yeah.
Well, if you haven't seen Miriam's channel, pop over. What's your channel name?
It's Miriam Feline, Milita Ija,
Because you're
Yeah.
from
Sweden.
Sweden,
Yeah.
but
well,
you're
living in Qinghai.
yeah, and you're
Yeah.
married to a Chinese guy,
Yes,
right?
And here in Qinghai.
This here's Adam. Adam also has a YouTube channel. What's your channel name, Adam?
The China Adventure.
The China Adventure. So
And
if
this
you,
is the sort of things
Yeah.
we're doing, right?
I've got a couple of questions for you.
What's up?
Is it your first time you've collected dung?
This is the first time I've collected any sort of animal waste.
It's kind of a bit weird picking up with your hands.
yeah. But to be fair, hands
not
seem
too-
to
yeah.
be relatively good.
You just need to check that it's kind of dry first,
Exactly.
don't you?
Give it a little tap.
Yeah. Make sure it's dry. Otherwise, ooh, it's not so good. So yeah,
Alright.
go and check out Adam's channel if you don't know him. Go and His videos are great. Round China, really good. When you first think about it, it sounds like, oh no, but actually there's something that's really quite therapeutic about it. You're in the open land, and there's just something nice about just being out in the open among these mountains. And I've just had a conversation with this local woman here. She has told me that for a family of 4, they will kill 1 yak, and it will last that family for eating about 6 months. And they cut it all up, and then they will store it in freezer. 2 yaks will keep a family fed for a year. She told me normally they don't kill a yak until it's 5 years old, mature. And they tend to kill the males more than the females, because I presume the males don't produce milk. It's really interesting to find out. It's things I never knew before coming here. Yichukar Villa, with its Tibetan architectural style, offers an authentic rural life experience, including activities like horse riding, grassland bonfire parties, mountain biking, animal feeding, and experiencing traditional craftsmanship skills. So it's putting the pattern into the steel. So it's all handmade stuff. These are some knives here, look, that are not finished. So they're still making all the parts. Look, these are the parts they've made for the handles, and they will put different parts here. Everything's totally handmade. So it takes approximately 20 days of work to produce one knife, because every part of it's handmade. And when it's finished, if you want to buy one, it costs more than 10,000 RMB. But I think actually that's not that much really, because you think of the amount of work. Let's say he works, I don't know, 10 hours a day. That'll be like 200 hours of labour that's gone into that. So actually 10,000 RMB sounds a lot, but actually for something that's completely handmade, it's very, very reasonable. This is such a lovely place. It's hard to believe they built something so beautiful in such a remote area, and it's turned into like a coffee stroke tea shop, and it's a very relaxing area. You know, I could imagine myself coming here, working on my laptop, just chilling. It's really, really nice. And this is really interesting because in the workshop earlier we saw them making these, and they're so decorative. And look how good that top fits. It's such a good fit. There's virtually zero tolerance in there. That is absolutely amazing. The way that's been made, it's just fantastic. They've even put like a stone in the top. So we're at a height of over 4,700 metres above sea level. And this is the highest I've ever been above sea level. And just walking makes you breathless. It's amazing to see all the snow on the mountains. I bet this snow is here for most of the year round, because I bet it's so cold up here. Even there's a clear sky, the sun's very bright, but it's still quite cold here. It's quite amazing. I took the drone up, and I've got some fantastic views. You feel like you're on top of the world. Amazing, really. It really is. So, and to think people live at altitudes very similar to this, it just blows my mind. So I was really inquisitive about how they make their income in these remote areas. And apart from being pretty self-sufficient, they live off the land, they live off their animals. There's 2 main things that bring them their income. One is yak, but something I had no idea about. In certain times of year, there's something that grows, and it only grows above 3,000 metres in some very specific areas where the climate is just right. And it's called caterpillar fungus. It's that important to their economy and income here that schools have a holiday at that time. So everybody in the village can go out and collect this caterpillar fungus. And apparently it's tiny, but each piece can fetch as much as 50 RMB, 50 yuan each. So this here is known locally as white stupa. And as you can see, it has these prayer wheels around it. These prayer wheels you see everywhere in Tibetan areas of China. And it's about around 800 years old. But these prayer wheels, it's very important that when you do these, you walk across them, and you will hear the people, they will be murmuring a prayer. And it's very important that you only go clockwise around here, and they will go around every one. And this is also very important. You can't like stop halfway. Once you start, you need to go around them all. And you see underneath them, there's piles of stones. I think this must have some meaning as well. But this is something that's very embedded in Tibetan culture. It's very, very important. So this river behind me is the very early stages of the Yangtze River. And it's kind of really just like a little stream. But this gets into one of the largest and most important rivers in China, the Yangtze River, the river that everybody knows. So it's amazing to be at this point where it just, you know, it's starting. You have the water coming down from the mountains, and it builds and builds. It gets wider and wider into the massive Yangtze we know flowing through some of China's big cities. So something else that's caught my observation being in these remote areas is I've been noticing the pylons, electricity pylons go across the mountains, and then smaller pylons. And I can't help but think the amount of money the Chinese government have invested to bring mains electricity power to very, very small communities. You know, some of these communities only have a few hundred people. It's a huge amount of investment just to bring electricity to a small amount of people. And that really tells me that the Chinese government care more about the people having those services than the actual cost it incurs to provide that. And not only that, but they also have like 5G. There's no way in England a company would run 5G to a village with 200 people, because they know they wouldn't make the money back. But here, the government, along with the telecommunications companies, make sure that even the most remote locations have good telecommunications and mains electricity. I think that, hands down, you've got to say that is a really good policy. So all around me and all behind me are something called mani stones, M-A-N-I. And Tibetan people will buy these, and they have inscriptions on them. And then they will stack them into large piles, make kind of like mountains of mani stones. And this area is said to have the most in the whole world of these mani stones. It's estimated that there's 25 billion of them here. That's just incredible. So we're now at a place where they actually carve these mani stones, and I'm actually going to have a go at carving them. You can see they have their traditional hammers and chisels here. They sketch the design onto the stone, and then they will use these to carve. Okay. I think you obviously have to practice a little bit more. I'm a bit nervous in case I do it wrong and wreck a design. But I think with a bit of practice I could do that. So my time in Yushu Qinghai is coming to an end. And what I've been really surprised with is the Tibetan culture here. You don't have to travel to Tibet to experience Tibetan culture. You can do it here in Yushu Qinghai. I've had an amazing time. It's a big area, so there's a lot of travelling, but there's some fantastic scenery. There's some great culture. So it's really worth checking out. Anyway, for now, from Yushu in Qinghai, as always, take care.